Ooh, pee pee poo poo, I think made it on. Happy Tuesday, everybody.
Well, of the two, that one's okay.
That one's okay. You know what didn't make it on though? The proper arrangement of cameras.
Oh no.
Tried so hard.
Oh, Oz.
Oh, you know why?
I'm Brum.
Boom! Hey! Man, you know what? I reorganized all of my OBS stuff. I separated the pirates and the fools into their own individual things. I put all of my like art assets into subfolders like a boss. And now I don't know where anything is, so I keep clicking onto the wrong scene. It's time to go live. Happy Tuesday, everybody. It's still Requisite. It is, in fact, if you were wondering if it was going to be that kind of week, it is going to be that kind of week. The story of today's story is that it's been a day, TM, as we said, for many of us. If you've ever come home from work to find out that your Roomba went on a dog shit adventure, then I know how you feel, because that's what happened to me today. But we're not thinking about that now.
The exact opposite of its job.
It's the exact opposite of its job. It was a Pumbaa today, and I'm not here for it. Anyway, let's thank our sponsors. Not sponsored by Roomba, though I will take your money if you want to sponsor us, Roomba. Shout out. I'll stop telling people that your robot vacuum covered my house in dog shit today.
Yeah, just painted your floors. It's fine.
We are sponsored by Little Dragon Corp and Cardboard Castle Games. If you type exclamation point Little Dragon or exclamation point CCG into the chat, you'll get a link to those websites. You can check out those fine and lovely sponsors. Thank you to both of you for sponsoring our Dungeons & Dragons podcast here on Proficiency Bonus. Boy, my brain is fried.
And I got 10 gold, and Fikes has got Bardic Inspo.
Congratulations.
Woo! Thanks, I'm rich.
Now that you're rich and inspired, let's recap. You are on the central island you're on a sort of an adjacent island in the atoll of Mount Iolaquis. The Ignean Empire has made off with a dragon that they acquired here. You staying behind to help the local tribes of Goblin and Arakocra who live here have experienced a little bit of the turmoil left behind on the island in the Goblin. It's gonna be a long one, guys. The dragon's departure. Scylla, something had been sort of bothering you. Your druidic senses were out of whack. You couldn't harmonize with nature the way you wanted to the last 24 hours or so. And it turned out that it was because the pair of elementals that had been bound by some sort of a ritual for an unknown amount of time, but certainly hundreds upon hundreds, if not thousands of years, to seal the lower chamber where the red dragon was slumbering, that the Igneans released, sort of merged into one conglomerate mad elemental creature of lava and metamorphic rock. The group of you managed to put it down, and Scylla, you found yourself inadvertently teleported to a strange version of the world, it seemed, that, you have never visited before. There you met an individual who you had a conversation with that told you that they were Zorala, the speaker of the free people, the leader of the city of Zresa in Honorand. They told you that they were, and apparently you were, though you did not know it, something called a Verdant Walker. You explained to them that you don't know what happened here. You were trying to protect this place, trying to help, but were too late, and you you didn't know what was going on. Zarala told you that she can answer those questions for you, and to seek her out in Zresa before flicking you in the third eye and flinging you back out of the Verdant Wild into reality, where you now wake up, laying on the ground, a gentle rain falling on your face, your 4 party members, kind of gathered around you. Guys, from your perspective, Scylla, pulled that crystal out of the, lump of rock that it had, solidified in, lurched over backwards onto the ground, and in the span of, 5 or 6 seconds that it took you guys to, rush over to her, she, blinked open and she is now conscious again. So she wasn't out for very long. She basically, fell over and then is now conscious.
Concussion.
But that's where I'm gonna turn you guys loose.
Scylla,
Nimue,
are you okay?
I am fine.
I reach down to help her up.
Yeah.
She'll take the assistance and stand back up.
That's
so
weird.
I still have the gem, right?
Mm-hmm.
The thingy.
It's it clutched like a football to your chest.
Yeah,
essentially.
I'm carefully helping her. I'm making sure I'm not disrupting that in her arms. I'm helping her stand. But I'm weirded out that she's letting me help her stand. As a side personal note, I'm like, are you okay?
I'm fine.
Did it hurt you?
No. I know where we need to go now, though.
What do you mean?
I was contacted. Fuck. I can't.
Okay, I have to be the one to ask. You're definitely you, right? You're not like a demon or something. If you're a demon, you legally have to tell me.
Legally, it's true. It's the rules.
I am Scylla, but I now know that I am also something else. I was contacted by somebody who, now that I have seen her, I think she might have a connection to your people, Nimue. She had markings like yours, but they glowed white. I know of her, but had never met her before. Her name is Zarala, and she is the speaker of the Free Peoples. I guess you could think of her as a representative of everyone in Zresa and Honorand, but not quite. It doesn't really work like that there.
Matt. Out of character, Christy knows, but does Nimue know? She doesn't know Zarala. She doesn't know that name.
No.
She's never seen people with white?
I guess I'll leave that to you as your, you kind of have your headcanon about the tattoo color system. What I will say is to call the markings white is a bit of a
they were glowing.
They're
right?
they're like tattoos, but they were made of light instead of ink.
I specified that it was they were glowing.
So the
They
glow
were,
to them
made of...
was white, but they were
It was I have not ever seen this sort of. Even when yours glow, it does not look like this. They were made out of light. A white light. And I went elsewhere to a time when this island had not been changed. The colors were very vibrant, and it was like every sensory experience of life was heightened, but beyond the island, there was only gray, and the border began to shrink. And when I tried to leave the place where I found this, I could not leave. And it was no longer solid. It was just energy and light. And it was like space was parted like a flat curtain, and Zarala was there.
You said you know where we need to go now.
I do.
So where are we going?
We are going to the place that I was born. We are going to Zreza.
Oh shit. Is that far?
Map time. Uh-oh.
Oh.
Oh.
He figures his stuff here. I'll play. Wait, which way do I have to go?
Matt, can you also check the message I just sent you?
I'm Thixis. I can. Yes.
I am the captain.
Eileen, this way. I'm still me.
Where did you send me a message?
Michael is Nimue, though. Wow, Nimue, you dyed your hair black?
Hell yeah.
Rowan got an intense bleach work done.
Captain shaved his beard.
Mm.
There was an unfortunate incident with the fire from Texas.
Is this a technical difficulties moment, or is this a carry-on moment?
It might be a carry-on. I'm dealing with DMs, and I have to give you guys a map in a second. So if by the time I resolve that, Russell's back, great. If not, then it will be a carry-on moment. And if Russell doesn't come back in a bit, then I'll have to reshuffle cameras. Till then, at least everybody's on screen. Russell can play the part of Nimue. Nimue can play the part of Rowan. Rowan can play the part of Macbeth. Scylla can play the part of half of Scylla. And my sock puppet hand will play the part of Thixis.
I think he's trying to come back.
Ryan, here he comes. I'm back. There's the captain.
There we go.
So the last thing that I said was that we're going to Zreza, right?
Yeah, and then Nimue said, "Is that far?"
Whether or not that this far is sort of up for interpretation. And I suppose it could be considered far, but
Okay, he's back. So
it isn't.
let me give you some context.
I think it's like north. It's like kind of north of where we are, right?
So, Magma Hydra's not here anymore.
Yeah.
Like northwest.
So let me give you. All right, so you're gonna have to look at two maps here because they're separate maps. But here's where we are right now, right? If you're looking on screen,
Okay.
right here's Mount Ioliquist. You guys are like kind of around this area. Up over here is Honorand. Up in this like top piece here, like above this off screen, is where like the Gulf is. So this is like the southern cape of the continent. And I will switch you to Orahole at large. So if you imagine, I'm very in the way. I'm going to move this in front of myself, actually. Let me disappear myself real quick. Boop. So if I turn invisible, so you can kind of see like the bottom left there. That you see where the Gulf is.
Yeah.
That bottom piece. You guys are like you would be to the bottom. I guess you would say the southeast off of this map. Zreza is kind of smack in the center of that larger part. Now, what this map doesn't show, because it's like quite zoomed out, Zreza, essentially that whole center piece of Honorand there that has like Zreza right in the middle of it, that entire thing is if you imagine it like very Grand Canyon-esque ish, this whole thing was formed by like the flowing of water over like thousands of years. So that whole area is like this like myriad of like mesas and plateaus, and there is still water running through this. So the D in Honorand, where like the top of that D is, that little like indent there, you can just see a little bit of like water. There's actually like a pretty sizable river, like that you can, like a boat your size can sail up, and you can get pretty well into the interior of Honorand that way.
Cool.
Eventually, like you will
Need a
you
part.
will have to like leave the ship and then continue on a smaller vessel or overland to the city proper. But you can make the journey of of a week-ish at sea, to get up to the river and then sail upriver most of the way.
Really cool. That's really cool. Hell yeah.
So you're probably a week at sea to like the mouth of that river. Maybe depending on the current and like the wind and stuff like that, sailing upriver is not the easiest. So there's considerations there, but you're maybe another week or so, at that, and then the last leg of the the last leg of the journey being determined by what method of travel you take.
All right.
He's frozen, but at least he's
Still there.
At least he's still there.
Go ahead, Brittany.
I guess I'm just looking at Scylla. I got the impression you didn't ever really want to go home, much like I didn't really ever want to go home. Is this okay?
It is not the same. I do not want to go home because I cannot go home, and I cannot go home because I am not ready to go home.
But we're
It
going
is-
anyway, huh?
I suppose. I left partially due to the shame of exile, but partially with the expectation that I would return with knowledge and power and do that which I failed to do the first time.
Which is what?
Zarala seeks to do something that has not been done before. She seeks to parlay with leaders of other nations and most of my people wished to follow this path so that we could ask for our ancestral home to be returned to us. But for myself and a few others, you do not ask to return home. You take your home back. And so we spoke out, and my people could not reach a consensus on how to proceed, whether we would fight for our home or ask for it back like cowards. And so I challenged a leader of the opposition to combat to see if we could resolve who was right, and I lost. And so I exiled myself so that I could recover knowledge and power that has been lost from our people, so that I could show them how to get it back, and so that we could reclaim our home. By our stories, the things that I can do that have taken me a very long time to hone, these skills were inherent to who our people were long ago. And being away from our home, I think it is making us weak. It makes every generation of children is born weaker, more of them die. Fewer people can access this power. And so I felt it was urgent to take the matter into our own hands. The land was taken from us, but we can take it back.
What land is it that you want?
It's in the middle of it's like a forest in the middle of the continent. Which country is it? I think it's in multiple countries. It's like literally in the middle of the freaking map. Where's that map?
I'll move it for you.
Oh boy, I asked a heavy question.
I gotta find that map.
Oh
Kansas.
no. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's up there. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's up there.
Yeah.
As Matt scrolled, I got more and more worried.
Wait, Matt, can you point to it on the stream?
So there's a little bit of uncertainty, right? Like a lot of this information has been lost.
It's oral history, yeah.
Your people are from
It's like that
here somewhere.
that border of 3 countries. Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, so it's not just one person you would have to be negotiating with. It would be like 3.
Mhm.
Yeah, gotcha.
And one of them
It's the Empire.
is these guys.
Sick.
We only have what was passed down in stories, but it is not just one place. It is a sprawling ancient forest that a few nations may currently be occupying without our consent. So I wanted to find power, spirit, something that could help me better understand what my people had that was lost to them. And now I have been told that I am a verdant walker, and the place that I went to is the verdant wild, and I know not what that means. And to find out, I must speak with Zarala, the person who represents everything that I am against,
Oh boy.
and whose beliefs led to me needing to exile myself from my people.
What a bad times rock that was.
Alright, you hold the rock in your hands. Scylla, make a make a vibe check. Make a you can call it a perception check or an arcana check or a nature check. Whatever you feel is the most like appropriate check to kind of like tune in on your sort of like inner connection to your surroundings.
So you said it could be arcana, nature, or perception?
Those three seem the most like relevant potential. Shit, if you can explain how it's an athletics check, I'll let you make an athletics check for all I care. Like whatever you think, yeah.
So even though her perception is higher, I feel like nature is the better role here, so that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
I'm gonna use my luck point that chat gave me earlier. Just to see if I can get that higher. Nope, that's one lower. I rolled 18, 19, 20, 22 on nature.
So you notice, as you're kind of like telling this story, you guys are like you're standing in the center of like a steam filled like magma field at this point.
Right.
The rain coming down from above has like cooled, much of the lava flow around you, and is what's like kind of like it's very much created this sense of like a private conversation that you guys are having, because like the steam coming from the ground as the rain cools this heat of this magma like kind of like huddles in around you. And Scylla, you kind of like you feel this like this closeness of being engulfed inside this like cloud, and you can feel the crystalline structure in your hands is if you've ever put your hand on something that has like a little bit of a current going through it, you get how you get the like the bees in your fingers. It just holding onto that, like you feel that feeling in the palms of your hands, which you now begin to notice like your fingertips are kind of starting to go numb from holding onto this thing. But you start to become aware that the buzzing sensation that you're feeling in your hands.
Uh-oh, canine chaos.
Yep.
Must be put on pause because a dog is out of water, and that's very important.
Oh no. How dare. It's raining. How can it be out of water?
A dog shows up and it is endlessly thirsty. And so we pause this important conversation and then give it water and hang out with it.
It'll float like a pot or something.
Yeah.
All conversations.
We have to
stop
find
for
an
now.
alchemy jug so that we can have endless water forever.
Endless water.
I don't know if that's coming through my mic. Oh,
Nope.
the sounds of dog drinking is happening behind me. Your fingertips are beginning to go numb from this crystalline thing that you're still holding on to. This kind of like buzz of energy coming from it. But you kind of realize as the embrace of this sort of close space that the steam has created allows you to like take stock of yourself and then like your surroundings and then expand your kind of perception slowly. You realize that the buzzing is now only limited to the crystalline structure in your hands, where like all day before this it was like drilling into the back of your head, like, and it becomes evident to you that like the ground is now still and calm, and though you can't really see it through the like rising fog and steam, you can sense by like the calmness in the air the volcano has ceased erupting. There is a sort of post like purging of nature calm over the area that you find yourself in, and you can feel the devastation that has wiped through here as lava has like burned away vegetation and foliage and changed the landscape, but you can already feel the resetting of nature and the rejuvenation that like this cleansing fire will have brought. Your mind is kind of dragged back to that place that you just were, the verdant wild, as Zarala called it, and that encroaching, darkening border. But here, back in the physical space, you can't sense anything of that place or what was happening there. Here, you once again feel in tune with the natural world around you. You feel the ground solidly beneath your feet. And here, at least, you feel that things are right again. The containment of that elemental, or those twinned elementals, into this one being in this crystal that you now hold seems to have set the island and the volcano back to rest.
I do not know what the future holds for this island, if the Verdant Wild is shrinking in this place, but the volcanic eruption has stopped, and I think for now the people here will survive.
That's good.
There was one other piece of information that I got.
What's that?
Murderbeard is connected to a pseudo-primordial. I do not know what this means, so do not ask me.
Well, shit.
But it was information that Zarala was able to sense.
I don't know what it
Cat
means either. Don't look at me.
I guess it's good we're gonna go see her if she has the info that can help with all of this. Maybe?
I mean, she asked you to come to her?
It is an urgent request. Yes.
Maybe you can fight her for the forest.
There's nothing that I would like more than to fight Zarala, but I would like to do so when I feel capable of defeating her. And based on what I just saw, I don't think I'm at that point yet. Sorry, I do not think I am at that point yet. I am not able to project my consciousness into another reality on top of this one.
Right.
Nor am I able to send people to and from that place, or hold them paralyzed and with a threat of invisible power.
Maybe helping with this will prove worth in a different way. And then you can kick her ass later.
I mean, you can still ask, like, you could, like, ask to have put her back as a reward and then still kick her ass.
I do not ask for something that has always been mine.
I know what you mean. I feel like I would feel the same way if that happened to
To
Napoleon.
ask permission for some... That would be like to ask permission for your arm back.
Right.
It is a part of us, as much as your bodies are a part of you. We do not ask for it back. To do so is a perversion of everything that our people were meant to do here.
Then we tell her we're taking it back.
When you're ready.
When you're ready. And you don't have to do it alone. I know you said you had some people rise up with you back home, but you have more people out here too. You might not be strong enough alone.
I do not know what paths the others took. I do not know if my mentor even lives anymore.
Oh no.
We could always look.
We could.
If we're going back there anyway, it might be a good idea. Find out how many people still believe what you believe. Because I agree with you, I don't think you should have to ask for something back like that.
To return and still be unable to do that which I set out to accomplish is a... I do not think I can describe the level of shame that this causes me.
Oh, Scylla.
But I feel that I must. For I do not know what a Verdant Walker is. I do not know what the Verdant Wild is. I do not know what the Pseudo-Primordial is. And Zorala does.
So we'll find out together. We'll get you your answers. And I think getting your home back is a valiant mission to at least try.
We should go. The spirits that guarded the volcano are contained.
Okay.
This place will be safe. For the time being.
Alright. We'll go together.
When you guys depart from the area here, the Arakocra of the Bright Feather tribe, the goblins of the Nug tribe, they come to see you off. They present you with gifts from their people. From the Arakocra, you receive trinkets made of brightly colored gemstones and woven colorful string and plumage shed from the Arakocra themselves. They bestow these gifts upon you, telling you that to adorn oneself with plumage freely given from their people to one who is not an Arakocra shows that they consider you one of them, essentially. Specifically Nimue, who I know is not at the computer right now, but specifically Nimue, who helped them to rescue their eggs, has to like put up with a lot of like being hugged and like fussed over. The Nug tribe goblins present you with a crudely carved like goblin idol. And you are told that this is an idol that marks you as a friend to goblins. When you travel, throughout Honorand and throughout the continent of Orhol, as you encounter like other goblin tribes, displaying this idol will indicate to those other tribes that like you have you have rendered service to goblins, you have proven yourself like friend of goblins. They give you fair warning that goblin culture is a little bit complicated. Their explanation is kind of hard to follow, but the like gist of it that you get is like, you really should not think of this thing as a like, we'll show it to you and that means that like we'll get along and be like buds. They very much impress upon you the fact that like to some tribes and in some cases like this like display of like friend of goblin will be like, there's a lot of insinuation that like certain goblins might try to eat you. A lot of it is very hard to follow, but you get the sense that you have this like this idol which represents a very complicated concept in goblin culture, but definitely has the potential to like help get goblins of certain tribes as you may encounter them like to help you out if you need.
Yeah,
Those are
Scylla,
sort of the-
if Rowan doesn't mind, Scylla will tie it onto like her belt. It's just a piece of rope that she keeps all of her like little whale and shark bone scrimshaws on, and she'll tie it onto her belt.
Okay.
That way they can all see it, because it's higher than anybody else. Yeah.
Yep.
The Anna Cromwell and your guys' like crew restock, manage to like refill your stocks of gunpowder, of cannonballs. They source plenty of like rope and canvas and wood from the Ignean ship that they salvaged. They do bring you back the ship's like coffer that has 200 Ignean regals in it. They bring a like a logbook that is the captain's log, which has details about like the individuals who were on the crew. You are there able to confirm the names that the sailors that you like interrogated gave you about like who the like the group of people that were in Malark's party are. If you need them again. Actually, they may not have given you full names. You have full names now. The names that you acquire from the book are Morwain Duskbloom, Imbus Clearwood, Lithoxe Fordril, and Xena Shin.
You're gonna have to
Hell yeah,
type those
Xena!
to me.
I'll give them to you. I'll give them to you later.
Yeah, I'm like, me typing, me guessing my spelling on these is gonna.
I'll give them to you later. There's an X in one of them, so I will give them to you later.
I have no doubts about random spelling things in here. All good.
And obviously, Malarkar.
Yeah, I know how to spell
you get
that.
some names of like
I know how
other,
to spell that.
You get the rest of the crew dossier and stuff like that. You see like their log that that shows that the ship was constructed in the shipyard at hang on, I'm sliding. Oh, you can't really see it. The shipyard in Umyath Darai. They set sail down this way. Their marked stop here is on their logbook. You see that their next port of call was to be a resupply. Assuming you figure like assuming successful like capture of the harbor, they were going to be convening at Austinvale.
Cool. Slams that book shut and shoves it away. We're good. To Honorand.
The goblins in the Aarakocra also help Anna Cromwell and the rest of your crew. They take some of the like parts of the standing like jungle that needs to be like taken down and cleared. They help you like harvest some of that wood and bring it aboard the ship as like spare lumber. So you like fully supply your ship, and are basically ready to roll.
How long would this all have taken us with like them helping us get ready, restock, everything?
You're probably on the island for another couple of days before you like
okay.
head out.
Some point then before we go, after resting and all of that, I'm going to ask Scylla to help me, or to just make sure I don't mess it up. But I am going to spend one of those days doing plant growth for 8 hours to enrich the land for a half-mile radius centered around a point. So wherever they are most hurting for crops to be regrown, whether it's with the goblins or with the Aarakocra, like depending on what got destroyed the most, like
Okay.
Rowan's gonna go there and try this new cool thing and be like,
Sure.
Scylla, make sure I don't break things.
So kind of what you can do if the two of you guys do that, together, with Scylla's guidance. The folks that live here very much live in kind of in harmony with the land, so they don't have much in the way of cultivated crops, so much as they like the jungle and the ocean sort of like provide for them, and it is more than enough for what they need. So what your spell does is takes you basically like overnight, right? Because this is a ritual that takes a long time. So like you guys basically spend like, of the couple of days you're spending like leaving here, you spend one of the nights just doing this ritual together. And as you guys do this ritual throughout the night, the clouds overhead the island begin to roll in at this accelerated pace, and a heavy drenching, soaking downpour of cool rain comes down over the entire atoll. And when the dawn breaks the next day and the sun begins to come up all across this stretch of the atoll, you see that the regrowth after the cleansing fire has been accelerated by months, where yesterday there was fertile but blackened nutrient rich soil. Today there are 3-foot high saplings have begun sprouting up everywhere, and the first stages of ecological succession have begun to take place as undergrowth starts to come back in. Immediately you begin to hear the buzz of insects and the chitter of small creatures moving back in from less damaged parts of the island, and you can leave knowing that the Aarakocra and the goblins that live here, between fishing and hunting and scavenging the forests for edible plants and fruits and things like that, they will have no problem providing for themselves, and the island will rebloom to a renewed majesty in a much shorter time frame than it might otherwise have.
So I gotta ask, because I think Scylla's casting of the spell still looks the same, but it's maybe less organized. She still will make a little hole in the ground and put some of the ash in it, and a little bit of crumbled bone,
Mm-hmm.
and then a drop of her own blood, and then probably just instead of it being water that goes through all of the fields like it did when we were in Nimwe's homeland, it's all of the soil turns itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's little critters running through, and all of the plants just start sprouting up. But what does it look like when Rowan does it? Because
Rowan's is very almost, I don't know how I want to describe this, but instead of the ritual of the hole and the things and doing all of that, she's very calm and almost meditative, and it looks like she's kind of almost sitting on watch, but her hands are sunk as deep into the soil as she can. And when she closes her eyes and it starts, you see kind of the light that you see with all of her spells go out, and you can kind of see the ground and the sprouts come up out of the ground with light first, long before they actually start to come out of
lay on
the
hands
ground.
before the earth.
Yeah, it's kind of like that
Yeah.
before the earth. It's
Oh, I love that.
that's good,
There's
because
no-
if you asked Scylla for guidance on how to cast the spell, she'd be become one with nature. I don't know what to tell you. That's
Yeah.
different for me than
There
it
is-
is for you.
There is not nearly enough blood in your version of this ritual. I don't know how to help you.
Yeah, so it's just Rowan. Rowan's asking Scylla was I just stand by to make sure I'm not messing with nature. More don't tell I know mine's gonna be different than yours, but as I'm doing this, just kind of make sure I'm not pissing nature off, kind of, because my first time doing it for that long. She's never done a ritual that long. She's never done anything that long, so that's why it would be.
Make sure you go to the bathroom before you begin, because
Yeah,
you will
little
be
tips
here
like that to
for
help.
8 hours
Empty
and you
bladder.
cannot stop.
Yeah, things like that, but it is essentially lay on hands
So-
for the.
Scylla, what I will say for you, from your perspective, when you do this ritual, right, you are taking the energy, the life force, whatever the like the power source that like undercurrents nature already, you are like it's like you gather it up and you release it, back around you, and like nature heals and revitalizes itself. When Rowan does it and you like witness this, lay on hands but for the earth is a very apt description. Like
Hell yeah.
the power is coming from somewhere else through Rowan and into nature. So it is like where yours is a redirecting of an energy that is already there. As you like witness Rowan do this, you feel an energy being like brought in and infused into the island around you.
I feel like this looks bomb as fuck because it's also like nighttime when we're doing this, so I think Scylla's is like all of like the little tiny like dirt and like water like summoned creatures that are following her are like glowing with silvery moonlight, and then Rowan's is glowing with like amber gold, and it's like very dope.
A small goblin boy sits at the edge of the island and watches this, and he watches all these luminescent plants begin to grow, and his eyes go wide, and gives him the spark of an idea. And 50 years from now, that boy will write the movie Avatar, because that goblin boy is James Cameron.
Oh no!
I made a mistake.
Okay,
Matt, I don't know if you will allow this to happen, but seeing all this and being enthralled by it, Thixus is probably standing somewhere near that goblin boy, so he just kind of like walks ahead, is watching Scylla and Rowan in complete awe of what is happening, because this is a little bit out of his element, but he's curious, so he takes his hand and he kneels down onto the earth, and he's going to take his hand and just kind of dig his like fingers down into the soil. And he's going to try to channel the same energy that he channels whenever he does Tides of Chaos.
Oh.
And just try to channel some of his natural arcane abilities. Mechanically, that just gives me advantage on stuff. I'm just trying to narratively, like...
Boost.
Do something. To see if it's curious to
give
help or enhance.
Of crack cocaine.
Boost him up. Just juice it up a bit.
Here's what I'm gonna do.
Uh-oh.
What's he doing?
Oh,
I don't like
no.
what he does.
Roll a d8.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh,
D8.
no.
Here we go, everybody. That is a 5.
Okay.
Is that one of the dice I gave you?
It is, yeah.
Okay, please tell me it's a good number, Matt.
It represents a in strictly mechanical terms, it represents a school of magic. In Thixus's sense, you kind of like stick your hand into this like magically infused earth, and you just like you kind of tap into whatever, you see like Scylla tap into like the magic of like the natural land around you. You see Rowan drawing on this source of divine magic that flows through her, and it gets you kind of like, you think about like the source of magic, the if the caster is the instrument through which magic flows out from wherever it comes from into the world, where does mine come from? And you feel this rush of magic sort of like flow from you into the ground, and it kind of grounds out in the ground, and you don't see anything like happen, right? Like a bunch of plants don't spring up around you, right? The rush of magic that comes out of you, like you kind of realize it. You get like this mental image, right, of like a big wheel being spun somewhere, and like the counter ticks onto like a particular flavor of magic, and like that's kind of what comes out, and you realize that like, well, when I use my my focus and I tap into this force, like I'm able to direct it into these different schools of magic. I can make this force do different things, do what I want. But there is something about the like innate nature of the magic itself that like it isn't just right. It's not just an energy source. It's not just magic. It is like these types of magic that I can then bend into different effects. And you, I think, are very familiar with enchantment magic. Like you have admitted to others in a moment of revelation that like your own sort of insecurities about whether people like you has led you often to like sprinkle a little Salt Bay on it when you're talking to people that you're not too sure about. But it gives you this insight into the nature of your source of magic, and an insight into like why is it that like there seems to be this like random nature to it, and you are filled with a sort of like giddiness that like kind of like an inadvertently a giggle, you're like and you're taken aback as like the emotion is totally separate from like your own mind at the moment, but something about the sort of like the chaos and the unpredictability of this source of magic that like comes from somewhere within you fills you with this like mischievous, almost malevolent like glee. And I will leave you with that. That is like the thing that Thykes. Oh, I will also leave you with roll on the wild magic table, because we're gonna see what happens there, because that definitely happens.
Got it. You got it. That is a 43.
All right, let's see what we got.
I hope James Cameron isn't standing too close to me.
Oh no! Oh my god! We're gonna end it before it happens.
No more Avatar movies.
Gripped by that like sort of mischievous, almost malevolent urge, as like this little goblin like watches you like infuse magic into the ground. You like teleport and find yourself like 20 feet away from him, and he like and falls down, and you are very briefly like filled with the like urge to laugh at a child that fell down, and then like you kind of tamp that back down and get back in control of your own emotions.
I walk up to him and I help him up. And then I'm still holding some of the dirt in my hand. I just take his hand and I put the dirt in his hand. Oh, hold that for me. And then I turn around and I walk away.
Okay, let's start. Yeah.
Did I just teleport once? Or is this something that's ongoing?
You kind of find as you start to walk away from him, you like and you then can teleport hop across the island. But about a minute later, like you lose the ability to do it.
I would try to make it to wherever Captain is as quickly as possible.
So Murderbeard, wherever you're standing on this beach at night as this is going on, you hear squeak, point, squeak, 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 getting progressively louder in a like a puff of smoke and a squeak of pants. Thykes comes like and appears next to you.
Captain, are you seeing what Scylla's doing? It's amazing. and Rowan's down there, and they're doing some incredible stuff.
Yeah,
Oh.
they are. What are you doing, Thykes?
Well, I don't think I can do it anymore. But that was really fun for a little while.
Never mind, I don't want to know.
It's probably best.
The goblins don't think you're their god now or anything, right?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
All right. Any other shenanigans y'all are getting up to on the island, or are you setting sail?
I just need it to be said I am making healing potions at some point.
You,
It's happening.
Yes.
It's happening.
It's been verbalized.
you
so that
are
means
you are
it's
definitely
happening.
able. You guys have some downtime. So you set sail back on the Grimm's Folly. The shrine to Scylla is brought aboard, and put. I think you guys said it was being put in the officers' quarters because you were not going to leave it downstairs in the bilge with Kiriskra. So you kind of put that in there, much to her angsty disapproval. She eventually wrings an agreement out of you guys that you have to spritz it every couple of hours because it needs to stay if it dries out too much it'll lose its magic. So in lieu of putting it down in the bilge where it'll stay wet, she's like, you have to keep putting water on it. But you are able to set sail. The remaining Sahajin reavers that were in this area that have been bent to Kirhisra's will pick up alongside you guys as you get several miles off the coast. They pretty much you have to go through Kirgisra to translate it, but they their ships are not designed for long range voyages like yours are. So you pretty much, if you want to they'll go wherever Kirgisra tells them. So you can tell them where you're gonna go and tell them to catch up to you there. You can just tell them just go and fuck up Ignians and they'll go do that. But they their ships don't have sails. They're very long and narrow and rowed. So in short bursts, they're way faster than a sail ship. But they don't have room for massive amounts of supplies and for long journeys. These are boats that are designed to ambush ships, chase them down, board them, and steal all their shit and then leave. So you'll have to come up with what you want them to do because they can't just travel with you. They can't keep up.
Sounds like a fun time.
I mean, yeah, someone causing trouble for them constantly.
Unless we have a different idea, I'm down with that.
Captain Thixus, any opinion on where to send our Sahagin friends?
I mean, I'm kind of big on the just go ruin Ignian days approach.
That seems to be my goal.
Okay. After
Perhaps we can talk to our guests, our Ignian guests, to maybe give them an idea of where they might be able to find some Ignians.
You can. I mean, but you also know that you have the logbook, right? You know that the bulk of the armada is headed towards Austinvale. So whereas you guys right now are going, get my big map back up.
Oh, are we letting them go yet? Like, did we reach a consensus on what we were doing with them yet? Or no?
Right now, I'm just assuming they're in the brig until you tell me, like, we're dropping them off on dry land.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So you just, you've got them until you tell me what you want to do with them.
Okay.
Right, so right now you guys are coming up this way. And, like, this way. You are going the same direction that the Armada went, right? Like, you know that this group broke off and went that way, and you followed them. But the rest of the main part of the rest of the Armada went this way towards Austinvale, which is like directly behind my. There it is. Right, so like, you can basically tell them like, all right, we're gonna go, this way, and then we're gonna keep going north because we're going here. You guys just keep going west. And when you start finding the Ignians, just like fuck shit up.
Yep.
Okay, so after like an inordinate amount of time, like clarifying that they're only allowed to raid Ignians, and then like making sure that they like understand the difference between Ignians and like other ships, and a bunch of
If
like
you accidentally come across any children, you leave them alone.
so that like that takes like the better part of an afternoon to like you bring the like the prisoners up and you're like, good, they look like these guys, and then like all the Sahajin are like looking at you and looking at like the Ignians, and you can tell that they like can't really tell the difference, but eventually you're pretty comfortable that like, okay, they know what they're supposed to do. They're just gonna go and just raid Ignians essentially. And Kier Yizgra tells them like, eventually we will like go that way and catch up with you. You get the sense that like she didn't like confirm any of that with you guys. So you get the sense that she's just telling them that because she has to tell them like, yes, I will come after you after this, but like she doesn't seem like she gives a shit what happens later. She just like sends them in that direction, says like, we'll come that way afterward and regroup, and then I'll give you your next like commandments, and then sends them away. So they like peel off of you after about a day of travel at sea, and go to cause some trouble. You basically have downtime for a while here. So, Scylla, you can brew potions. I will give you guys the opportunity to like freeform it here. Talk to each other. Talk to NPCs. Any stuff you want to do on the boat. And when we hit like a lull and it seems like you guys like don't have anything else you want to do, I will progress the story.
Super quick question. I don't have it noted how many, like, I guess we could say charges or like fat stacks of herbs I have for like a basic healing potion. I know that like I got some when we went to, I forget the name of it, the pirate island.
Thyxus and Murderbeard brought
and then
me
they
back
also,
stuff from
yeah, they
Glassgates.
got me some too. So like I had like, I feel like the number is 6 total at this point, but I could be wrong.
So what I was gonna basically tell you was, to roll 2d6, and then like however many we come up with there, you can make like checks to craft potions up to that amount. And like,
Okay. So 2d6? That's 6 total.
6. Okay, so you don't have to do this like on camera live or whatever. You can do it like to yourself and write them down. I trust that you're not going to be like, hey. You can make
I am gonna do that.
That's
Just-
fine. That's fine too. They're
just
just
that.
healing potions. You make yourself a nature roll, with a mark of 15, and for a success, you successfully craft a potion of healing. For a failure, you fail to craft a potion of healing. On a critical success, if you roll a nat 20, we'll say you craft a potion of greater healing.
Ooh.
And then you can come back around later and tell me what you come up with after Scylla comes out of the kicks open the door to her quarters 3 days later, and a cloud of weed smoke comes out, and she comes out.
Oh, Nimue was in there getting hot box if that's the case.
I
I
do druid craft some sticky icky buds for Nimue.
Thank you, appreciated. I am just vibing.
Anything anybody is specifically looking to get up to on the ship?
One thing Dykes would do during some downtime is that necklace that he has that has the different color stones in it. He would just spend time with it and switch the stones and see if he can, through the process of elimination and vibes, see if he can figure out what these gems do.
Ooh, let me see if I can. I really have to start titling the Google documents I make for these things, because I make Google documents that have these details in them, and then I don't name them. So I have 800 untitled Google documents. And then I'm like, boy, it would be good if I could find the one specific one I'm looking for.
I know I wrote down that the jet shard is when it uses metamagic, it curses one creature targeted by the spell.
Yes.
But I wasn't sure about the others because I didn't have a chance to use them, so I didn't. If you want to give it to me later too, Matt, that's fine.
Take me, maybe it depends on how long it takes me to find this document.
Yeah, don't let me hold up anybody else. I was just going to say that was probably one thing that Dykes would do if he had an extended period of time, is just kind of spend some time with that item and see if he can really kind of ascertain the nature of each one of the stones or shards and see what it does.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go through these dang things one at a time, unfortunately. Let's see what this is. Nah. Okay. Yeah, I'll find that. So essentially, you through trial and error, you are able to determine what all of the different shards do. They essentially all have different shards that enhance when you use your metamagics in certain ways.
Okay.
Once I dig that back out, I'll send them to you of what they are.
Weird.
Okay. Anything else from anybody?
At some point, probably a couple days in, after debating over and over what to do, Rowan's gonna go to Captain's quarters, or find Captain wherever he is on the ship. And just kind of hover for a moment until he looks at her, depending on where he is.
He's in the captain's quarters, and he's I don't know, in classic pirate fashion, looking over a big map on a table.
There's a dagger stabbed
Yeah.
into it, for sure.
Captain,
Right.
I need to ask if I could borrow the fancy mirror for a second.
He's moves a bunch of other maps.
Stressful.
Here it is. Here you go.
Thank you.
I knew it was somewhere.
And I'm going to call Terra Libra real quick.
Okay.
Because we had called them and told them what was up, and they, I assume in all this time, haven't called us back yet, but Rowan has other things she wants to talk to them about.
Okay.
I'm calling back.
After a little while,
And I'm going to stay in the captain's quarters. I don't care if he hears
fine.
this. Like,
sure. After a few moments of like, you kind of like hold the mirror up and like sort of think about Terra Libra, and the mirror like resolves into the interior image again of what you now recognize to be oh my goodness. The like the artificery workshop. I'm like,
hold on.
My brain has completely turned off.
Hold on. I gotta find it in the notes. My Google Doc is frozen. Volodov.
Boris Volodov, yes, Boris Volodov. You see the inside of Boris Volodov's office in the workshop. He is sitting at his desk, which is like a little way across. He has what appears to be a like a shuttered lantern in his hands, which like gives you a bit like, hang on. But then he like turns it open, and it's just like a normal lantern with like a light enchanted thing in it. And he like sees you in the mirror, and he goes, shuts it, puts it down on his desk. He walks over. He says, "You are Rowan, yes."
Hello, Master Volodov.
Aye, with the master. Boris is fine. Volodov, if you prefer more formal.
Boris, I have a question, and I don't know if I should ask you, or if I might need you to track down Torian if he's better. I don't know. I need some help.
If he's not too sensitive, best ask for me, and then we can all save ourselves the trouble of having to track down Torian Idrian.
Fair. It's not sensitive, I just don't know whose territory this lands under. And since he was the one in our business the most, figured he might be the one who wants to remain in our business the most.
He wants to remain in everyone's business the most, but ask and I will find out if I can.
Is there a chance that somehow, some way, somewhere in the great piles of things you all have there are a couple spell scrolls of sending that could be sent our way? I have some messages to send that are a little bit more urgent than the birds can handle.
I am sure that this can be arranged. I will talk to the relic hunters. They always keep a number of those in stock. Getting them to you might be a little more complicated.
Well, I thought with our bags, and Rowan points to like hold up the.
Oh,
bag.
you have the bags. Yes.
Can't you just call back and tell me when it's there, and I can?
Yes, I can. I forgot you had the bags. This makes things much easier.
I appreciate your help. Time is a little bit of the essence, and since we called you about the dragon last time, I hadn't fully thought about this part of things that need to be said to other people, and they don't have a cool mirror, so I need to make this quick. So as many as you can spare would be great. I'm sure we have a couple other people on the ship that need to send a couple messages to.
It will take me maybe 5 minutes to walk to the Relic Hunter Hall, and then I will put them in the one we have here.
Thank you.
So, give 10 minutes, then check for scrolls. I will put them in there.
Thank you, Boris.
Fastest Uber Eats ever.
I know, right? Fastest paper ever.
He says, tell your friend with the pants, Teixis, Tell him that Mishkalandia Kalruk has broken the codex on the journal that he left her.
So
It
we're
will
getting
take him. He says it will take her some time to
copy.
translate it and copy down, but when it is complete, we will send that through the bag as well.
Thank you. Can you just call us when it's coming through so we know to check for it too?
I will let you know, or someone will via the mirror.
Thank you very much, Boris. You guys are the best, and saving a lot of time is very important right now.
Yes, well, these are strange times we live in, and if putting myself through the exertions of walking 200 yards to a different building and putting a scroll in the bag is what I can do for you as you sail around the islands shooting people with cannons as they try to take over the continent, it is, I think, the least I can do.
Much appreciated, Boris. Have a good rest of your day.
And you as well. He like heaves himself up, and you hear him like thump 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 out of his office, and then the mirror like goes dim.
Okay, good. Helpful. Very, very helpful. I look at.
I also forgot we had those bags.
I have not. I've been trying to think of fancy ways to make these things work, and I went back in the notes and checked to make sure that we had one at Terra Libra to pass things to each group. So I was like, no, there's a bag there. Don't lie to me. I look at Captain. I have some things I need to take care of, but I also figured you might want to let Una know about the dragon, and Nimue can reach out to her father. However many scrolls they can send us, we can figure out the best way to get the message to the people we love. But it's been bugging me, and I haven't been able to sleep, so... Thank you, Captain. And I just give him the mirror back.
Yeah, anytime. I was looking at this map because I couldn't sleep either, so I just looked at this map.
Anything interesting on the map? And I just lean over it with him.
It's a map that's like hand drawn. It's like Macbeth's map of how to go to sleepy times. No, it is whatever you want it to be.
Well, right here is an island of the tea stain that I spilled about 10 minutes before you came in here.
Got it.
Would you like some tea? I have some unspilled tea.
I would like that, Captain. Thank you. I know we're all stressed out. Do you just not sleep well, or is this because of dragons and going to Honorand at this point?
Yes.
Rowan just sits down. She's like, I don't know why I asked a double question. She should know better by now.
That and the whole, like, may have gotten myself cursed and also sometimes see ghosts when I go to sleep.
Time out of character. Is this the first time you've told us that you see ghosts?
No, I think I told them about Thorn's
I
ghost,
think you
right?
told Scylla. I don't think you told anyone else.
I don't think you told anyone
Because
else.
Scylla came.
Scylla
had
came by,
come
like,
to your
right
room, and that
after it
was
happened.
when. Yeah, because that was when Thixis like asked
Oh, well, I
Tea
mean, it
Kettle
wouldn't
what
have
was
been a
going
secret.
on, and she was
Yeah.
implying nasty shit.
I assume
yeah.
I would have explained it to everyone else at some point.
Okay.
It wasn't a secret.
Oh, okay. Because otherwise that'd be a very different reaction from me in character.
Oh, yeah, let me tell you about Thorn's ghost.
Rowan just smiles as we're dealing with making our tea and everything, and well, I mean, you didn't know what you were getting, and from what you said, he asked if you wanted to live, so
Yeah, it seemed like it was that or death, so...
you didn't have too much choice.
Yeah, I'm usually gonna choose the
Still breathing.
not dead option.
I think that for all of us is the best choice, but who knows, maybe by the end of all of this we'll know enough to break the deal, or whatever you want to come from it.
Yep. And hopefully I'm not damned for all eternity. So. I mean, I might be damned for all eternity.
But just from your actual
Aside,
choices,
yeah,
and
aside
not
from
a
that.
trick. Rowan sips her tea and thinks for a minute, and she just looks at him and goes, I don't think you would have been damned, pirate or not. You are troublesome. And definitely deadly. But you're not a bad person either. So.
Well, I appreciate that, but you also didn't know the young Murderbeard.
Funny you say that, and Rowan's gonna go in her bag, because she recently found that pirate book that our librarian gave her from her days at the Radiant Dawn. And she flips through it. The cover's gone. It's like half the book is missing from the damage and the shipwreck and everything. The kidnapping and all of that. And she slides it across, and there's just a picture of a dwarf with a very short beard.
Just a goatee.
It's like a goatee starting to turn into a beard. And it just says MM on the top. Doesn't say anything else, and just slide it across the table to him. Is that you?
You trying to blackmail me?
No, I'm giving it to you. I had this book and I read it, but I never put two and two together because when I motioned to his beard. But when I couldn't sleep, I've been going through my stuff and what's left of the book. And this was still here.
I will either confirm or deny that is me.
I will never show the crew. Close it. Put it away. I'm good. I'll check the bag for scrolls and how many we get when it's time. But we get 10 Holy!
Do we know that right now or
In the time it takes you guys to have that conversation and drink tea,
10 minutes later.
like
Okay.
you
We
reach
get
in and
10
you're like,
scrolls.
spell scrolls, and they're like, they just fall out. There's 10 spell scrolls that
Of sending. Oh
of
god,
sending
okay.
that Voldov managed to like wrangle up and just hucked in there for you.
Okay, well, Captain, how many do you want?
I probably only need one.
I give Captain one. And I stand up and I go, I'm gonna go tell the others. And I'm gonna go tell Thexus about the code breaking and that'll be ready soon. Thanks for the tea, Captain. I get up and I go and I will find Nimue and ask her how many she wants, and Scylla how many she wants, and Thexus how many he wants. And at minimum, I want 2 for myself, but
Yeah, I'm assuming like Murderbeard's only gonna contact Una, and then Una has ways of telling the rest of the pirates. So I probably don't need more than one.
So what kind of spell scrolls are these?
sending.
Sending.
Can we use them if we don't know magic?
I maintain I don't know if this ever come up. I maintain the homebrew rule that like spell scrolls can be used by anybody.
Whoever opens them.
Anybody. Okay. So I don't need to know magic to use it.
Mm-mm.
Cool, because I'd be like, I don't cast a single spell.
Essentially,
Sam.
you break the seal.
This is a
on it,
nice
like,
piece of
open it up.
paper.
It's like whatever wizard created it, like they cast the spell, but they cast it like into this
Okay.
this piece of parchment, magical parchment, and then like you open it up, and then you just become like the channel through which the spell that has already been completed goes. That's how I've always maintained spell scrolls,
Cool.
just because I like the idea that like if you make them, you can give them to
Use
people
them.
and they can do stuff.
So how
So
many
do-
does 2 for
Do we
Scylla?
each take 2?
Fine.
Yeah, we could each take 2. I probably only need 1, but having an extra one on hand is probably a good idea.
Thixus,
Yeah,
2 good for you?
Yeah, two would be good.
Then I think that means you have
We have 2 each, so that's 10 of them.
1 unaccounted for, because Murderbeard only took 1, right?
Unless you
Well,
want,
if everybody's doing 2, then I'll
That's
take
fine.
2.
that's, yeah.
And
Okay,
why
so-
don't we, like,
Yeah, I'm done. I don't need to take
we'll
up more
come
time
back
right now.
to, like, if you, like, take your time over, like, until next session to, like, if you're gonna contact people, to think about that. I don't want you to, like, rush
Right,
that
right.
decision.
Yeah,
We'll
I know
come
what
back
I
to,
want to
like,
say,
whenever
but
you're
I don't
ready.
want to talk anymore right now, so we can come back to that
Right, so-
later. I know what I'm using them for.
And, like, don't feel like, obviously, don't feel like you have to use them. Like, you've got them.
Yeah.
Keep them if you don't have anybody to send a message to right now. But we'll come back to, like, message sending after you guys have had, like, time to think about it.
Mhm.
Anything else specifically that y'all feel inclined to do on board before I hit you with something?
Oh, nope.
Okay.
Nimue is vibing.
I'm gonna, at some point, find Scylla, and in the fashion that I did for Nimue, like at the beginning of the campaign, Murderbird will give her a little, like carving of Scylla, but Scylla's is out of bone. As eventually everyone will get one, but it takes a while.
Do you do this?
What'd you say?
Did you do this?
Yes, yeah, I hand make them.
It is good work. And she'll, like, kind of, like, she takes out, like, one of her little, like, scrimshaw thingies where she's been, like, carving, like, all the things that they've done so far. And we'll, like, show him that.
Oh, you're much better than I am. I've been trying to do Thixus for like 3 months, and I cannot get the horns right.
You could make the horns out of a different material and attach them to whatever you are carving them out of so that they are stronger.
Yep, you're right. Didn't
I
think
know.
that.
If you are carving it out of wood, use metal and just put a hole through the head and put the horns on the end of it.
Oh, that's good advice. I'm gonna try that.
What do I do with it? She's just like holding.
You just
Well, you see, you make a character sheet.
yeah. Yeah. This is what we call a mini. You do whatever you want with it. It's yours now to do with what you like.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
She'll look at it for like a little bit and then she'll probably like put it in whatever room she stays in. I don't think we ever worked that out. It's probably shared with other people, but if there's like a little window that has like some glass or like some kind of covering so it's not just like out to the elements and getting fall into the sea, she'll just like put it in the window, like facing out so that it can like be looking at the ocean.
I love it.
Neat. By about the midway point of your journey, y'all are just going about your business. Middle of the day, clear skies, sun is high. You are you have your attention drawn to like a commotion by the stairs to the lower deck, as one of your crew comes like jogging up the step up the steps onto the deck and like looking around to see who's around. And when he sees like whatever officers around that he sees, one of the sailors on your ship by the name of Mayweather Crook, who's one of your deckhands. Mr. Crook runs up onto the deck, and he kind of looks around and he says, "There's some sort of commotion going down in the bilge. The fish girl is shouting all sorts of ruckus, and there's lights going off or something, like she's magicking down there or something. She seems right stirred. Nobody wants to go down in the bilge to check, though, as she's awful terrifying. We don't want to get our throats ripped out."
All right, I get up. We'll check it out.
If I hear
Anyone
it,
with magic
go
want to come
down.
check?
Yeah, I mean, if I hear this, I'll go
Yeah.
down because I want to see.
I'll
Yeah,
go
I
with
wanna
you.
You're muted,
You're
Russ.
muted, Russell.
I don't have magic, but I'll come anyway.
Okay, so
We
you guys
all
all
are
head
going.
down. You head down below deck. You get to the cargo hold. You kind of like walk past the like secured food and goods and the lumber that y'all secured. It's all safely tied away. Nothing looks amiss. Here there's a number of like crewmates are like kind of gathered on this deck, like looking down into the ladder that leads down to the bilge. Poro Dazan is there, and they're kind of like standing nearby, arms folded, like looking over the edge. And when they see you, they say, "The Sahajin adolescent seems incensed about something. She speaks in her own language, and I do not understand what, but I hear no other commotion besides her own shouting and the occasional flinging of what I suspect might be illumination off of you've seen her conjure the magical trident. It seems she has it out and is flailing it around down there. I do not know what for. I hear no other signs of anyone else down there with her."
Without going in all the way, can I get a visual on her?
Yeah, you can like stick your head into the
Head down?
into the trap door. You look down, and as you look down, you hear from like the other side of the bilge. You hear like in Sahajin, you hear like, and you see she's faced away from you, and she's like this, and she's going like this and like this. The spiritual weapon, the like spectral trident, is like circling around her head, and is occasionally like lashing out into like the darkness of the bilge, like at the walls.
Like she's attacking something?
Like she's like trying to like stab at something, but you can't see it. So it's like plunging into like the wall, like the water at the ground, and she doesn't seem to like notice you in at this point, and she's like wrapped up in whatever she's doing.
Mentally connect with her. Kier, are you okay? What's going on?
She like lashes around. She sees you, and she said, "Something is down here with me."
What kind of something? What happened?
"I don't know. I was asleep. Figure like a person. And moved into the darkness. It looks like the ship around it. I can't see it."
I will translate that for the group.
Can I use my racial ability to detect magic? It's goat eye time.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
I also want to divine sense detect good and evil.
Okay.
Maybe skedaddle on down there. And see what's
Detect Good
going
and
on.
Evil gives you a sense of Fae Fiend's celestial undead, right?
Undead.
Yeah, celestial. Yep.
Okay. Are you, Scylla, you said you're dropping down?
Yeah. Because I only have a 30-foot range for detect magic.
Okay.
I'll
Yeah,
go around.
I have a 60 foot, but I'm dropping down if
Okay.
we're all.
It's a short drop into the bilge. Scylla, you cannot stand upright in the bilge. It's not tall enough down here for you, so you're like this down there. As you like move in and move forward, you don't detect anything magical. The trident obviously is made out of magic. Phyxis and Murderbeard, what are you guys doing? Are you staying up above, or are you coming down as well?
I will stay up above for now.
Okay.
I'd probably do the same, but just kind of peering down through.
Okay. Anybody who is down there and like advancing forward, make a perception check with disadvantage, and then Rowan, I'll get to your thing in a second.
What are we doing?
Perception check, disadvantage.
Well, good thing I have a +9. That's a 14. Still not great.
Also a 14.
13 plus 4.
17.
Okay.
17. Thank you.
So you guys you see here, Yiskra is down there, and she's like, you can't understand the Sahajin. You very much get the sense that it's a bunch of show yourself, bitch, where are you, and stuff like that. As she continues to stab. You don't see you don't see what she's stabbing at. It's very dark down here. So even with the added light filtering from the trapdoor from above and the perception of dark vision for any of you who have it, you can't see what she's fighting. Now, Rowan, as you extend your senses to feel the energies of these certain that certain magical creatures and things like that kind of give off a ping to your sense. You do detect something down here with her. There is something at the very far end of the ship. She is between you and whatever this thing is, and it's where the bilge comes to a point at the front of the ship. There is something that is it's tucked as flat as it tucked back against the wall, flattened as far back as it can get into the corner. Though you
Do I know what it is? Do I get what kind of what it is, the sense?
It feels similar to when you were on Naporia, mm-hmm. and you had that encounter with that creature that the swordsmith brought you to game feathers from. It feels similar to that. In game mechanic terms, there's something fey down here. In Rowan terms, fey is not. It's not a thing that's particularly common.
Right.
So it's you get the sense that it is sort of like a magical type creature. It's certainly not undead. It's certainly not divine in nature, and it's certainly not. You don't get a huge evil spike off of it. But you still can't see it from where you are.
Okay. I'll say to everybody, I point in the direction. I go, everyone, it's over there. It's not quote unquote super evil or undead. It's not normal. Remember the things I told you about that attacked the cool thing on Naporia when we went to go get ingredients for all the cool. It's like that, but not that, and we still can't see it. Rowan's not good at explaining things.
Weird.
I don't know, yeah. I'm just staring down that way, and I don't have dark vision, so Rowan's just like this.
From Murderbeard and Phyxis next to you, Apora says to you guys, should we pass them a lantern or a light source of some sort?
Yeah.
Good talk, Captain. And they go and get a lantern. They come back and they dangle like a deck lamp
You need to
down.
raise.
Didn't need discussion. You suggested. I said, yeah, good idea.
So like the like disembodied hand of a poor Dazan like dangles down into the build, holding this deck lamp that like illuminates the area. Go ahead and make perception checks again, just normal ones this time.
17 that time.
19.
Also 19.
All three of you, it got a 16. So all three of you see at the very Rowan where you like sensed it, at the very like far end of the bilge from where you guys are, as like Kiryuskra is like menacing it with this spectral trident. There is a humanoid figure that is similar in like dimensions to like Kiryuskra herself. It looks like vaguely feminine in shape, is like a little bit smaller in stature, is kind of like slender. It is like plastered itself against like the wood, very much in a pose that is like, you can tell it's like flattened itself, cowering like away from Kiryuskra. Its like features, like its body, is the exact like pattern of the wood behind it.
Like a chameleon. The heck?
I will mind
no,
link
it's the
with it.
predator.
I'll try.
You reach out and you mind link. You are able to mind link with it, but it feels very different than like sentient creatures that you have mind linked with before. It like the spaces of its mind remind you more like when you like connected with the spirit on the island at Naporia. Now that one was like vast and ancient, whereas this is like, you know, if that was like, you know, some big thing, this is like closer to like an animal almost. It's like you can sense that it is certainly sapient, but like it doesn't seem to have like language.
Language, okay. It's more like instinctual, like emotions.
No, you don't get that sense. Like,
Oh, shit.
you're not
Okay.
sure. Like you sense a capacity for communication, but like the way that you communicate using like words and language like is not this thing's frequency.
I will try to convey confusion and show our ship. Like, why are you on our ship? I'm trying to convey, like, curiosity. Confusion.
Okay. Make a persuasion check and make an insight check as well.
Okay. Persuasion's not great. I am inspired, but I'm gonna use that. Okay. Okay, it's just a flat 15 persuasion.
Okay. And what's your insight check?
Insight, I'm actually okay at. Oh yeah, 19 plus 4.
Okay. You get no response via the mind link, though you definitely get the sense that like it understood your communication to it.
Okay.
With your insight check, you see the perfect chameleon imitation of like the wood pattern of the ship that it's like hiding against ripples ever so slightly, and you see like a couple of like, it's almost like, you know, when you like when they drop like like ink powder into like water, and it sort of like blooms out. You see like kind of like a few splishes of that, but then they like seal back over, and it goes back to like wood patterned, and you can sense that it is like would talk to you, like would try to communicate with you, but is currently being menaced by a fish girl with a spectral spear and is like very afraid.
Okay, here, can you stop attacking, please? I want to talk to this thing.
She turns back and she says, "It was standing over me in my sleep."
Yes, we're going to find out why it's here. Maybe you're special and it was curious about you.
Yeah, that checks out. She goes like, and dismisses the spectral trident and like kind of backs off while like maintaining eye contact with it, like off kind of behind and to the side of you guys.
I'll try to explain to my party as best I can, like, I'm not getting words, it's more like feelings. It's similar to the spirit, but much smaller. And less... I don't know, it's just less. But it seems open to communicate, so I'm going to try.
As Kier backs up, it kind of like pulls itself off, like gets itself up out of the wall, and as it like moves out, the rest of you can like really get a better bead on it now, as now that it's not flattened against like a surface, you can make out the like 3-dimensional nature of its body. It almost looks like a it's very like mannequin-esque in that like besides the sort of like slightly feminine humanoid shape, it doesn't have any, there's no features. It has no face. It appears to be made of wood. Even as like that like blending camouflage wood pattern like kind of like swirls and changes to this like slightly off shade of different brown that allows it to like stand out so you can see it better in the like the lantern light that Apora is holding down. It looks like it is still made from like living wood, and like the wood sort of like ripples and changes like color a little bit as like swirls of this like chameleon-esque like pattern shift like move across its body, in a way that seems very like trepidatious to you as it like kind of approaches a couple of feet and like stands there sort of like almost like wringing its hands a little.
I'm just going to ask my party if anyone has any clue what this thing is.
Hey, do we have any? Do the Furbolgs have any like stories about this thing?
Make a history check.
In their vast knowledge.
Vast knowledge, let's go!
Can I make a religion check for any mythology or anything around these kinds of things? Just digging through my brain. Dirty 20 on religion. That'll get me.
That's a 15.
Okay. Religion sources you nothing.
Yeah, I figured. But it's like the only thing that would make sense for Rowan.
Scylla, with a 15, what you come up with is like the Furbolg have a lot of stories about a lot of strange and unique, one-of-a-kind things that exist in the wild places of the world. Things that what the Furbolg would refer to as the barbarians, the city-dwelling folk who have lost touch with the natural world. The things the likes of which that they tell stories about to scare their children, the things that they have superstitions about, and how so often those superstitions and those fears and those stories are rooted in a lack of understanding and fear. Sometimes those are very well placed fears, as there are things out there that are very dangerous. But you don't know what this thing is specifically, but I think your sort of like your Furbolg lore and background and culture tells you that like things exist in the world that like just because we haven't seen it doesn't mean we need to kill it with pitchforks all the time. And it, you know, you don't get the sense like you get the sense that this is such a thing.
So in that case, can I? Oh, okay. All right. Hopefully this isn't like an affront to its beliefs or like a I'm gonna kill you, but like can I? So part of Druidcraft, one of the things that I can do is create the instantaneous harmless sensory effect. So one of the examples is falling leaves. So can I like conjure up like a couple little like falling leaves and into my like they fall into my hands and then like hold them out to it, and I'll just like look back at the others quickly, and I'll say, I think it's all right. This is something special and different.
You druidcraft these this like handful of brilliant red and orange fallen autumn leaves, and you kind of hold them out. It actually approaches you with a great deal of eagerness, Scylla. It, you know, where it like was very trepidatious, terrified of Kier, trepidatious of Nimue. Something about you, like as you kind of move into its focus, it like comes right up to you, and actually like it takes like a couple of quick stutter steps, splashing through the water, and then an unfurling from its back, like these pair of like opalescent, like insectoid wings kind of like unfurl from its back, and like and it like takes it like a double hop, and then sort of like the rest of the distance, landing in front of you, and it reaches out these like sort of spindly wooden fingers, and it kind of like turns its blank face up towards you. A splash of like swirls of color in pinks and ambers and greens kind of like ripple across its surface, and it places its fingers onto the leaves in your hands, and then you watch as the orange and red autumn colors, like as if the color is being like drawn up, like liquid ink up into its hands and like absorbed into its arms, and you look down and the leaves in your hand are like perfectly grayscale. It like sucks all the color out of them.
I want to try one thing really quick. This might not work. I turn back to everyone. Cover your ears. Tell Kier to cover hers too.
She sees you guys do it, and she's just like,
You're mute. Yeah.
I tell her.
So I want to say to this thing in Druidic, which like in like the D&D like normal lore, it's like Druidic is a language that like is kept very secret, so Scylla doesn't want anyone to hear her speak it. And I want to say to this thing in Druidic, because I don't know if it's gonna speak anything. I don't think so, but I'm gonna try, and I'm gonna just say to it in Druidic, like, do you speak the like? Do you understand me? I don't know. Do you speak this language? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, kind of thing.
You say that, and it like, and hugs you, and like a sunshiny like yellow radiates across its form, and it steps back and it nods.
She goes like rigid with the hug. She'll like let it happen, and I'll like I gesture back to everybody like,
Ixis was in the midst of getting ready to throw fire at it when it started coming at you.
Do not attack it. This being speaks the language of nature, but it is not for your ears.
I guess cool, but also how did it get here? Is it hurt? What does it need? The usual. And Rowan just covers her ears again because she's just like, I don't know what else to do right now, but we need answers because like what do we do with this new other creature on our ship now? And she just covers her ears again.
It's clearly happy it can communicate with you, so
yeah, that was
doing that.
But like, we need information.
Yeah. Okay. So what do I have in my? Lexus,
Yes.
do you have
Earmuffs.
paper
Oh yeah.
or a quill? Lexus.
Oh right, yeah.
Lexus, do you have paper and a quill? I do not know if this thing can draw. Some charcoal.
I have those.
Oh
things.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I'd hand him down.
Okay, I'm gonna take. I will like sit with this thing, and I'm gonna like draw in the charcoal like a little stick figure Scylla,
Okay.
and a little stick figure of this thing. And I will hand it the little piece of charcoal. And then once everybody covers their ears again, I will ask it. I'm not doing the accent for this because the accent is for when she speaks common. So I'm gonna ask it, like, can you show me how you got here? Can you explain, like, why you're here?
It looks at your charcoal drawing, and you ask that to it. And as
I draw a little boat too. I draw the boat.
Okay.
We're in the boat.
Sure. As you ask it this, it sort of like an aurora like ripples through it as it like looks at you. It reaches down and it takes the charcoal, and you watch as the color drains out of the charcoal and like into its arm. The charcoal is now like white like chalk, and it puts it down on the like back on top of the paper that you drew, and instead of like you drew on this piece of paper, it now begins like color and images begin to like flood up through like the wood of this thing's body, and you see it shows you sort of like in the center of its mass, it shows you like these like dazzling emerald greens and like sunlight yellows and like the dappled color of sunlight through trees. The green is so impossible that like instantaneously you understand that like it is not showing you the green of like the jungle as it exists here.
The Verdant Wild, isn't it?
It shows you you see like the green and these colors like coalesce into like the mound shape of the mountaintop, and it shows you like fiery red and black swirls across its form, like rippling over and around its face. You see at like its fingertips and feet and like the top of its head, like a like impossibly deep like black begins to like encroach towards the center of its mass, and at the center of its chest you see it's a little formless, but it is like this sort of tall like impressionistic form that is like the sort of like teal color of it like reminds you of your own complexion, like appears, and you see then like this like this like orb of like every color like appears next to you and like swirls all around it so that like the center of its chest, perimetered by this darkness, is nothing but like the figure that represents you, and this like nova of colors swirling around. And then the like colors like subside and disappear, and you see that figure that you take to like represent yourself, smudged with like a red crimson like swirl is like at the center of it, and it's like leeching off color that like blots out behind you, and the black border disappears, and like again like sort of dappled green but smudged with like muddy blackish brownish appears, and all of this color like fades away, and it just like reaches out a hand and taps you that you drew on the paper, and then it like taps itself.
So you followed me out. Is that's why I ask it. Is that what I'm getting? Is the vibe I'm getting? Is that the vibe of this?
It
followed me out?
It responds by a sort of like a wave of sort of like greenish color kind of like floods across it for a moment that like you kind of interpret as like an affirmative response. Doesn't seem to be big on like body language as you understand it. But that it seems to indicate that like yes, it came out of the Verdant Wild with you, and like came like is going with you. It like once again that nova swirl of colors like briefly appears in the center of it, and then like fades away again, and then it like points to you again.
Yeah. I'm gonna Druidcraft this little guy. I don't know if it's just gonna be a little guy. It's just a little guy, and I'm gonna Druidcraft him like a little like desert poppy flower that's like a very like noticeable color.
Okay.
Like a bright like orangey reddish color. I'm just gonna give it to them. And I'm gonna see if they're gonna turn that color.
It takes it, and it like absorbs the color. The poppy turns like bone white, and then like you see it like sort of turns its face up towards you, and like if it sees you like looking at it, it like turns its whole self that color.
Just stay like that for now so that we can find you.
It turns like and leans kind of around you, like looking towards where Kiry's is like against the wall, and that like terracotta orange color sort of is like infused with like a stormy purple as it like looks at her, and it kind of like shudders.
Yeah, no, you're not staying down here. We're going to get you out of this room. I need to talk to my friends first about this, but we're gonna... Can you... Oh, you know what? No, Scylla would do it. Scylla would hold out her hands like, can I put you up? Like, I point to the hole that leads down here. Like, can I put you up there so that you're not down here anymore?
It like flushes an affirmative green.
Okay, I'm gonna pick it up.
It's extremely light. You like... Whoop.
Yeah, I'm just gonna... Because I can probably stand up and have like this much of me sticking out of this hole. I'm gonna just put it up there and say, please wait here.
It just like sits down on the... It like walks over to the like the bundle of like lumber that came in, and it just walks over to that and like sits down on it.
Motion for everybody to uncover their ears. So you all saw that,
we all
right?
saw that. Yeah. We saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New friend?
It definitely came from the Verdant Wild.
Yeah.
I think it might have tagged along. Or been connected to the gem.
Whatever rainbow magic was around you, it followed, it seemed like. Or was drawn to.
Can you put it back?
I don't know how Thixis. Sorry, she doesn't use contractions. I do not know how Thixis. Otherwise, I certainly would. But if the Verdant Wild is shrinking and in a sense threatened, as Zarala said, then it may not have a place to go back to at present. It may need to come with me when I go to speak with Zarala.
That makes sense.
Scylla, as you say Zarala several times in succession, it like flushes several colors a bunch of times at you, and that like multi-chromatic swirl like appears again before it like fades back to that terracotta color.
Okay, so then it's probably okay. So it's a Verdant Walker. It's could yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, I don't think this being is going to cause harm, but it is very good at concealing itself.
I think it's okay. We'll just keep it away from Kier.
And as long as it stays by and listens to you, I think we're in good shape. Even if it wants to go back to blending in.
I can make no assurances that I can command a nature spirit, nor would I particularly wish to do so, for they are not mine to command, but I will ask it to.
I'm saying, help me help you not get attacked by things on our ship, because we have a ship full of a crazy shark girl, superstitious pirates, etc., etc. Like, let's just keep it chill.
The pirates misbehave, I will kill them.
Well, yeah,
they know this.
More for their safety than for theirs.
All the pirates who are still currently like in the hold with you guys right now are like,
We all know that.
Yes, ma'am.
I do not know what to make of this.
If there's a hierarchy on the ship, she's 100% at the top.
I do know what to make of it, but I do not know how to fix it. It is interesting the way that it communicates. It reminds me of what I have heard in the stories. That there is still a remnant of it today in the way that my people will adorn themselves with flowers or bones or certain feathers, that the Verbolg people did not take names the way that you might think of them. They were not spoken. It was to greet somebody by their name could be to conjure the scent of a flower and the sound of a bird call, or the taste of blood and the sound of bugs. It's not. It reminds me of this, but it is different.
Does this one have a certain sensation as a name?
Cover your ears one more time, please.
Okay.
I look at all the pirates, all of you.
All of the pirates cover their ears.
I'm gonna ask it, how should I refer to you?
Make an insight check.
I mean, if not, it's getting called Lil Greenie. 17.
Okay, so 17 is good enough. This is like complicated enough of a response that like that's why I want to ask for a check. It like the sort of like color swirls through it and like demeanor of it. You take to mean that like the naming convention doesn't really mean anything to it. So like it understands as you like explain it. It understands the concept that like to call it like you types of things call each other things to identify each other. So like you can do that for it if you want, but like it doesn't have anything and it doesn't particularly care. So you very much get the like you sort of interpret out like name me something if you need something to call me. I'm cool.
That's crazy. No. We're just going to make it easy for everyone. And I'm just going to point to it, and in common, I'm going to say Greenie.
I will use prestidigitation to produce the color green on the wall for an hour. As she says this.
It like touches the wall and then like turns green.
Nice. We have a new crew member. Welcome to the crew.
It's sort of like a.
Oh shit.
What?
Never mind. It's okay. No, we're calling it Greenie.
What else? What else?
When it's Greenie, it's I'm committed. I'm committing.
Okay.
I should have called it something else, but that's fine. We're here.
Going once, going twice. Greenie. All right.
Wait. Okay. We're gonna.
Greenie
call
will be its other name.
Greenie can be its middle name.
Greenie will be
Does
what
it?
we all can call it because we're not cool.
Greenie's its given Christian name.
I'm gonna. Yeah, that's its Christian name. But now, okay. So I'm thinking back, to like I always pictured that like Scylla and some of the other like druids, they would take names from like giant instead of like all the mishmash of like other culture, like different names that people would take. And I think I want to call this one Filgia, because that means like that's like a little spirit that like comes with you for your fate.
Cool.
Aww.
So it's like I'll put it in the chat. It's like Fylgya.
That's cool.
I feel like that should be its name. I feel like that should be it.
All right, Filgia, you name it.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
But y'all can also call it Greenie. That's easier.
Some of the pirates, like, as you're like, you will be called Filgia, and they're like, Filgia.
Just
They're
say
like
Greenie.
they're like Greenie. Greenie's fine for us.
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. Alrighty. So you guys, kind of have this encounter. You continue your voyage, sailing. This creature, within like by the end of the day, this thing and Tea Kettle have become like best friends.
Oh yeah, the first place that I was bringing it was up to the crow's nest. I was literally
they
gonna
begin
carry
doing
it up.
like for hours on end. They start to do this thing where tea kettle mimics a sound, and then this thing like makes like a color like whatever like color and pattern like that sound translates to, and they just do this back and forth to each other for like hours on end. So like it once it gets on the deck, like it like can flit, it flits around, it can fly. So like up in the crow's nest for like most of the better part of the day, you hear like the ringing of like a handbell, and then like a swirl of color from this thing as it like flits around outside the crow's nest. And then you hear like the sound of like a whip being cracked in a different color, and you hear like a wagon wheel rolling across a cobblestone in a different set of colors. And they just like they do this for hours. They're like best buds by the end of the day.
Finally, someone else for Tea Kettle to follow around.
You, Thyxis, get the distinct pleasure of knowing the exact color and pattern representation of the sound that your pants make.
Wow. Wowie.
After a time, Kyr like finds you, Scylla, and asks you like. Kyr is curious as to like why it, it like found its way down to the bilge and like was like looking at her, and she's like, I don't know why that was, and she's like curious, but she's like, it's filtered through like 16 layers of like, I want to know why she was in my room, but she seems like a little unnerved by like why this thing was like seemed to be like drawn to her.
Yeah, and I'm sure I have to like. It's all. Nimue is literally the telephone, so I'll tell. You get the sense.
You get the sense like she still needs Nimue to like translate some of this to you. You get the sense that like she understands a decent amount of what gets said in common around her at this point, though she has a lot more difficulty. She has a lot more difficulty like speaking it. Though you guys are aware at this point, like, she does have the ability to, like, cast a spell that allows her to comprehend everything around her.
Yeah. So then I would tell her, I think it may have been curious about you because you are of the waters and you have a connection to a goddess who is at least partially associated with a force of nature. Violence too, but nature. That would be my guess.
You kind of get the sense that doesn't necessarily satisfy her. Like, she's like, it still like rankles her, but she leaves it alone after that, and she doesn't bother you again. Several more days at sea go by uneventfully. You are probably half a day's sail now from like the mouth of the river. On the horizon, Murderbeard, as you are on the deck, as you are wont to do, like occasionally spyglassing, you're keeping an eye out for, incoming land. You spot a small little like spit of land, no more than maybe a quarter-mile wide. One of these like tiny little like scattered barrier islands that are off the coast here, getting more frequent as you guys come closer. But you notice through your spyglass that there is a like a trickle of smoke coming from on that island, as if from like a campfire.
Interesting. Is anybody near me or around?
Whoever wants to be. It's the middle of the day. There's everybody is like, in a sense, around at all times. Like, it's not that big a ship. Like, anybody that you want is within, like, at the most is within, like, slightly raise your voice distance.
I like go to like turn around and I imagine that like I was like about to call for Thixus and then he's just like right there. I'm like,
Oh, hey, Cap.
oh, I was just about to call you. What do you make of
what's-
this? And I like will pass him the spyglass.
Looks like smoke.
Yeah. Yes, it's smoke.
What do you want to do?
I'm not exactly sure. And I guess I will then call over the rest of the commanding officers.
Oh, look, smoke.
Where? I don't see any.
Is it
Oh, here, Thixus hands you the spyglass.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'm blind.
is it not normal for there to be smoke off of these little islands? I'm sure people there all the time.
It's definitely smoke.
Yes,
See, I
we've
told
all
you.
established that it's smoke. Thank you. It's a little unusual for somebody to be on this island, especially without like a boat or anything.
It is a very small island.
Is it like doing an SOS thing or?
Is it doing an SOS thing?
Is it, Captain?
Yeah.
We all looked at it. I don't know.
Do we know how to read smoke signals? Like,
But I know
I
how
have.
to from like.
I don't know
military.
if Thixus would have extensive training on this part.
I
yet,
look at the
Captain. I don't know if we
spyglass
got
and
to
I go,
this.
"Do I see a smoke signal?"
Would I have like that from military training?
It does not appear to be like, if it was a signal fire, it would be on the beach probably, and it would be as big as it could possibly be made. Like, you get the sense that this is like it's a little bit back. I mean, it's not many trees, but it's like a little bit into the trees, and it's sort of a single trickle. You definitely get the sense that it is a campfire, more than it is a signal fire.
No, I think it's a campfire. If it was a signal fire, it would be more out on the beach and bigger.
So, it's mostly just weirding you out because there's no ship anywhere in sight and not a normally inhabited island. So you want to know what's up with this random camp.
Yeah, pretty much.
Do we all want to stop?
I suppose that is the only way to find out.
Or they don't need any help and they just vibing.
Well, then, once we check, we can leave them alone.
We can get closer, right?
Yeah, how close can we get to the island without?
Running aground.
Yeah.
Fairly close. Like, you can sail close enough that, like, somebody could swim it, in a couple of minutes, or you could take a boat, or you could, Scylla style moonwalk across. You can probably get within a, call it 100 yards of, like, the shoreline of this little island.
I guess we'll pull up alongside and...
Do we just want to take a rowboat with all of us? Just to
I think
see-
Murderbird is going to call out first and just be like, "Ahoy there!"
So,
And see if like a
before
bunch
you
of...
start calling out.
monsters come out of
You
this.
make the decision. You're gonna check this island out. So you divert course slightly to head towards it. The ship moves in quickly towards the island, and you begin to prepare yourself to kind of turn port side and come around it to slow down and drop anchor. As the tree cover of this island begins to sort of slide past you, and you get a view, you start to get around it more to the north to prepare to stop. You can now see clearly further north, closer to shoreline. Probably 5 seconds, Murderbeard, before it comes into your line of vision. The bell in the crow's nest begins to ring, and you look up, and Tea Kettle is bling, 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 bling. And then the ship gets just far enough that you are able to see past to the far side of this island. Make a perception check, everyone.
Natural one. I told you I'm blind.
Smoke.
16.
I rolled a natural 4, so that's a 13.
I
Oh my
also
god!
I also rolled a natural 1.
I got a 16.
Okay. Murderbeard, Rowan, and Scylla. You notice this first. Nimue, Thixus, you guys are kind of still looking at looking at the smoke. You're Tea Kettle starts to ring the bell. You're looking up.
Look at the gulls. See it? I'm pointing with the spyglass in the opposite direction.
Murderbeard, you kind of had remarked, boy, it's really weird for there to be somebody on this island with no people there. Well, as this little island gets out of your line of view, and you can see the stretch of ocean leading towards the shore, which you now see is a distant strip on the horizon. In these shallows here, you see that whoever is on this island, presumably, did have a boat at some point. And that boat is currently snapped in half and partly sunk in the water on the far side of this island. It is a massive galleon. It is painted in the blue and gold and platinum of Kingdom of Mythlinde. And across the stern castle, you can read the words Valiance.
No, we know them. We know them. That's the people from. Oh,
It's who?
that's
Wait,
the
is
people
that
we,
from,
we traded the people with?
with the lady, way
Yeah,
back when we were on that
Thorn had,
island with
fenced with, and we were like, go
with
ahead.
Thrall?
Valiance,
Yeah.
one of the flagships of the Mythlindian Royal Navy, captained by Captain Olivia Hannigan, is wrecked and sunk off the shore
Shit.
here.
Fuck.
And that is the end of tonight's session.
Oh my god.
Oh, God.
What are the odds?
Not the long game, not Matt with the long game.
The second you said the colors, I was like, oh no, it's gonna be them. Oh no.
Oh no. Damn.
What are the odds that the one Mythlindian we've met?
Yeah.
Well, hey, thank you guys for joining me tonight. As always, fun session. We vibed it out. We just we were loosey goosey with this one. We just sometimes you need to just dither around for a session when everybody's had a hell of a week. So thank you guys as always for joining me. Thank you guys at home, everybody at home, for watching along with us tonight, commenting in chat all night long. I was keeping track of that. I didn't understand a lot of it. There was a lot of talk of tickling for a while there that I didn't quite understand but didn't want to know about, so I just didn't ask. But you know who I bet would love tickling? Little Dragon Corp and Cardboard Castle. I bet they would just be tickled pink if you would go and spend money at their stores and tell them we sent you. Thank you to those sponsors. Don't forget, with Little Dragon Corp, you can use our code bonus at checkout for 15% off of your order. And that is all she wrote for tonight. We will be back next week on Tuesday with the Fool's Errant, who have just acquired an enchanted, bigger on the inside, collapsible stagecoach, and are about to break into essentially the inescapable Supermax Azkaban of the Ignean Empire.
D&D Alcatraz.
The D&D Alcatraz, and then they'll see how that goes. And then we'll be back the following Tuesday after that, which will be some date. Today's the 31st, so that is what?
One of the dates is Valentine's Day. We'll be playing that Tuesday.
So the 7th
We get
is
to hang out on
Fool's.
Valentine's Day.
I'll have to get back to you on the 14th. We will certainly.
I have spell scrolls to send, Matt.
It's certainly a day. I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Some of us answer to a higher power. So
She has a much higher power than all of us.
all of us combined. So that is our session for tonight. We will proceed at least with next Tuesday, and then we'll go forward from there. Stay tuned. All sorts of exciting things to announce in the near future. Be sure to check out all the other streams on our channel. Go find us on YouTube. Do all of the things. Like, subscribe, follow. You know what to do. I've got nothing else. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Love you, bye.